very nice.
Yeah,
What statement did Rodgers send to the league?
Is it very nice if he calls him 65 years old?
I think he was saying even when he's 65.
Even when he'll be able to do it. All right, well, then it's very nice. I think they sent a statement, but like a very specific, qualified one.
Okay.
Which is, while I do not expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to win a playoff game, they can win exactly one playoff game against a very specific opponent. And I know it's a lot of qualifiers, but I'll make the case. Aaron Rodgers was good last night, and at times he has been good. But he has been good against a very specific profile of pass defense, namely bad ones. Like if he plays a bad pass defense, he can look pretty good. We did the splits on Aaron Rodgers against top 10 pass defenses and against everybody else. When he's playing the Bills, the Chargers, the Packers, those teams there that you see at the bottom, yeah, they have a couple of wins, but it's against teams with bad quarterbacks, and the numbers that he puts up are really bad. When they play middle of the road or below average pass defenses, he has been excellent this season. The problem for them is the AFC is wide open,
right,
but the teams that they would face potentially in that 5-4 game are very difficult pass defenses. Like the Chargers right now are the third-ranked pass defense in the NFL. The Texans are fourth. The Bills are second. We just saw them lose 26-7 to the Bills. They lost 25-10 to the Chargers. And I know you wouldn't pick this to happen, but in a world where Houston wins out and Jacksonville loses one down the stretch and Jacksonville falls into that 5-4, Jacksonville's pass defense is gettable. It's like the thing on their team that is a weakness. And I wonder if like Trevor going to Pittsburgh.
But so you're saying in order for them to break their playoff drought, a
million things have to happen. And again, I'm not impressed with Pittsburgh in their totality this year, but Rodgers has been better than a lot of people expected.
He's been better than I thought.
Rodgers
in specific matchups.
Well, and I don't know where the Ravens rank right now past now I know overall it's probably not that high, but a lot of that's because of the beginning of the year. He played, maybe his best game of the year was against the Ravens a few weeks ago. So, like I said, they're probably middle of the road.
They're 26th right now based on the yards,
Yeah, because of
how bad they were the first
6
Yeah, but you're right.
That's why I'm wondering with the resurgence. But look, I don't think the Steelers proved anything. I mean, it was a good win they had to get. I was hoping Miami could beat them. I thought they had a shot because they had won 4 straight, but again, 2 in cold weather. It was a long shot at that. But I think the Steelers, their only hope, you brought up a good point about Rodgers. Their hope is that the playoff field in the AFC this year isn't what it has been in the past, period. The Chiefs for one, but the Bills, I don't think this Bills team, even though it might be the one that gets to the Super Bowl, is as good as some of the previous ones. Baltimore may not be in the field.
Well,
and
if
if
the Steelers
they do
get in, then Baltimore's not.
Right, exactly. So there's no Lamar there you have to beat. And Danny, I know you don't want to hear it, but if I'm the Steelers and they get in, I certainly don't want Buffalo in round 1.
No.
I want your Chargers. Now, Jacksonville wouldn't be bad either, but I want your Chargers.
I mean, Chargers beat them pretty thoroughly, and the Chargers have the number 1 opponent passer rating defense in the NFL this year.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Chargers have all these great defensive characteristics for a team that's carried by their quarterback. But
they got a great quarterback and a great defense. Could go on a run.
That's neither here nor there. I think the statement Rodgers and the Steelers sent to the league was one of relief for the rest of the league because it looks like they're going to make the playoffs and the Ravens are not. And
the Ravens are definitely scarier.
Right. And so here's the thing. And this is where maybe this is an unfair way to look at football, but I just think all of football history backs me up on it, so I'm fine with it. The fact that the Steelers all year long have been marginally, but better than Baltimore, does not offset the fact that the Ravens have a future first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback in the prime of his career, which makes their ceiling just higher. Even though Lamar's biggest issue has been the postseason, even though the coach is on the hot seat, even though this is the worst Ravens team maybe of Lamar's career, honestly, not maybe, it almost assuredly is, I still think every other team that makes the playoffs and is like, we're trying to win this. We think we can win the Super Bowl. It should be everybody. If it's like, hey, would you rather have one of the other 14 teams be Baltimore or Pittsburgh? They're going to say Pittsburgh. Take that, the Lamar goes red hot for a month X factor. Take that piece off the chessboard. And
Not to mention Derrick Henry and the run game.
Sure. And I do think the Steelers have been just good enough to where they are going to run out the clock on Baltimore. Like right now, they are a game up. There's 3 games left. So if they fit over the next 2 games, have a 1-game better record than Baltimore over the next 2 games, then Week 18 won't matter. And I think that is, for the Steelers, the other piece of the recipe is be able to give your old quarterback a bye. So I actually, that's the other thing that could make them scary, if briefly, temporarily scary, is if they get to rest in Week 18. You know what I mean? And they get to set everything up, get TJ Watt back for that playoff game when TJ, I think, from what I've read about the collapsed lung thing, it takes some time to get back from that. And so I don't think there's a great team, and I don't think Aaron is some great vibes guy, except when everything's rolling and he's happy.
Well, the vibes, the MVS quote seems like...
Well, MVS has always...
I know, but the vibes are high.
Did he help
They're
the vibes
winning.
with his, cast-off squad? I mean,
I
What
think
a
he was
quote.
trying. He was trying to be kind.
or was he?
Remember,
I think he might have been
I don't
throwing
know.
out there. Look at what I'm getting to the playoffs.
If someone's going to have to be the Aaron Rodgers guy on the show, I'm willing to take it on.
He's been throwing the ball downfield the last couple of games.
More so 2 weeks ago than last night.
If that
There were
Aaron
5 last night, I think,
Rodgers
5 attempts.
it's his
looked
second,
really dangerous.
85. He completes 85% of his passes. It wasn't just good; it's the second highest completion percentage of his entire
He's
career.
had a good season.
He went from those 3 games and 2 of the teams you mentioned, against the Chargers, Bengals, and Buffalo. He completed 35 total passes in those 3 games, and then these last 2 games at Baltimore and Miami, he's out here cooking. So if he can keep it going, I'm waiting for the sort of the media narrative shift to turn on Rodgers. I do think that's part of it, that there is more support for old man Phillip Rivers coming back than old man Aaron Rodgers, really.
Because
slinging
2 weeks ago, he was throwing teammates under the bus again. 2 weeks ago, it felt like, right before that Baltimore game, it felt like Tomlin was on the hot seat and it was same old Aaron.
To be fair, I think that is one of those things, and maybe it's confirmation bias, but when you send out throw a bomb at your teammates and you come back and beat the Ravens and then beat the Dolphins soundly, I don't think it's fair to be like, that turns from throwing your teammates under your bus to motivating them. In my book.
My guess is that did not land in the locker room like it landed for us. I think they probably took it.
I don't know, the results. I mean, maybe it's, hey, the results are what they are. So you get a free
He still
pass
had the
on it.
birthday party, didn't he? Where they
brought a decorated cake.
I also I don't know that the narrative is going to switch between now and the playoffs. I just think the other teams are more compelling and I think they're actually perceived as more dangerous. Like Pittsburgh's if they make the playoffs, they're going to be an underdog.
Oh, yeah.
See,
against whoever they play.
I disagree with you.
With TJ,
I think that
I know you don't agree with me on the Chargers.
For the record, and I like the Jags, but I think they will be a home favorite if they play the Jags, if they play the Chargers, and they might be a home favorite if they play the Texans. And so
empty the accounts game.
we can say these teams. So the Chargers and Texans just don't score a lot of points. And so now you're going to be in what you would think is a low-scoring possession game with the far more experienced quarterback. And the listen, I like the Jags, and the Jags have been super explosive of late, but the Jags have not earned your trust over a long period of time. So
Danny Herbert has struggled in the playoffs. Even you have to admit that.
And so
we'll see.
I think that you are overstating how much the public would be against a 10-7 home playoff games started by Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't think they'll be.
Yeah.
I think they'd be underdogs against certain teams and maybe Houston, but I don't think they'd be underdogs against the Jags or Texans.
You can only do 10 teams in your top 10, but welcome to the Jacksonville Jaguars. People say, oh, wow, they beat the Jets, 6 touchdowns. And honestly, I felt that way. When you dig a little bit deeper, though, into the numbers, trivia question, Nick. Who's the team in the NFL that has the most games where they've scored 25 points or more?
I think the Jags with 11.
It's shockingly the Jags with 11. Always looking at my paper. That's how he wins trivia with me every week. Gianna, we have to audit it. More games where they've scored more than 25 than the Bills, Packers, Rams, and Patriots. Your guy, Trevor Lawrence, although you abandoned him, is cooking.
So to be clear, I'm just curious. Last week, they led the league in this category.
Oh, that is correct.
Okay, when I begged you to put the Jags on there.
Yeah,
okay,
well,
thanks for listening.
I listen.
Yeah, thanks.
I take notes. Good job by Liam Cohen this year. Coming in at number 9, the Los Angeles Chargers. Yes, they lost to them heads up. I understand that. But it's the totality. It's the impressiveness of the wins. When the Cowboys beat the Chiefs and the Eagles, oh my God, how dangerous are they? Are they a top 10 team? Well, the Chargers have done that now in back-to-back weeks, and they have, like I said, not only the best opponent passer rating defense this year, best opponent passer rating defense in the NFL since 2021. Their defense has been spectacular. Coming in, yeah, I know, Justin Herbert getting help by his defense, Nick. We can talk about it. Coming in at number 8, I kept him in, the Green Bay Packers.
Sure.
Jordan Love is playing great. I don't enjoy saying it. It's just true.
Credit.
He looks awesome. He had 2 interceptions. One, a spectacular play by Surtain, maybe a touch underthrown. The other, off his receiver's hands, maybe a touch behind him. But for a month or more, Packers fans would tell me all year, he's been playing great. Losing Micah Parsons, devastating. Waiting to see about the Zach Tom injury. He's their best offensive lineman. That injury update is going to be huge. Coming in at number 7, the Houston Texans. The Texans defense, they're the best in football. 13 of 14 games this year, they've held their opponent below their opponent's scoring average. So if you average 20, you play the Texans, you're scoring less than that. And C.J. Stroud, last couple of games, he's been better. He looked really good against Arizona. Coming in at number 6, Wilds' New England Patriots. I'm not going to drop you that much for losing to the Bills, but your defense did allow the most points, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, third down conversions, and red zone touchdowns of the season against the Bills. So a little bit alarming for the Patriots defense as we get ready for the postseason. Coming in at number 5, the Denver Broncos. I said yesterday that win against Green Bay was impressive, and I have to include them in the group of teams that can win a Super Bowl. I'm not picking them to win a Super Bowl, but they can do it. They're a 3-1 favorite to be the 1 seed in the AFC. 3 facts for you on the Denver Broncos, because it's a pretty good formula. Fact number 1, they held Jordan Love to his worst passer rating of the season. Pretty impressive given how he'd been playing leading into that, and obviously that was helped by those 2 interceptions that I mentioned. 10 of their 14 opponents have been held to a passer rating below 80. So your quarterback is going to have a bad game when you play the Denver Broncos, but what about the offense? Since their bye week, they're averaging 28 points per game, and that was Bo Nix's arguably best game of his season this last week. That's a pretty good formula if your quarterback is peaking at the right time and the opponent's quarterback is going to be worse. Coming in at number 4, my Chicago Bears. There are a lot of stats that I could choose from today, gentlemen. About the rushing, about the takeaways, about the fourth quarter, about the coaching. But I just decided, communal.
Wow.
Let's watch the throw to DJ Moore one more time.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just throw. It's a great throw. It's a great play. Who in the NFL can make this play other than Caleb Williams? And you're thinking, could it be Herbert? Would it be Josh Allen?
We were not thinking, could it be
Joe
Herbert?
Montana's who you were thinking of.
I mean, it does look. It does look a lot like that throw. I will give you that.
What's the bigger play, do you think? The game-winning one in the NFC Championship game against the Cowboys, or that play against the Browns?
Wasn't cold there.
I think it
looks cold.
Yeah, looked a little cold.
Montana.
I think it was a game in
It
January.
January
Was
Northern
not
California.
ill-advised.
That cold?
Yeah, it was not that cold.
9 degrees.
No, it was not as
Good
cold.
point,
Yeah,
Wilds.
yeah.
Coming in at number 3, the Buffalo Bills. My preseason pick to win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen, my preseason pick to be MVP. Very trendy lately. Everyone else catching up.
Nobody thinks he's the MVP.
That's starting to percolate.
It's starting to percolate.
listen,
He's going to finish top 3.
He's trending up.
Yeah,
He's
He is
trending up, and by the end of the season, we'll see if he gets to where I had him
He's
before.
not good. Nobody thinks he's been better than Stafford.
Stafford's got to fall
Okay,
off
I
completely.
agree. If I had a vote, and I should, Stafford would get it. But I will say this. The Bills and Josh Allen, Best second half team in football. Can never count them out this year. Number 1 across the board. Josh Allen after halftime this year, and I like that one at the bottom. Most second half points.
No.
Most second half points for any team since Peyton's Broncos.
It's shocking.
They have been dominant after halftime.
You know what I wonder, Danny, if maybe we'll do it later this week, if they're a cold first half team. Like they were cold agast the Patriots.
They have some slow starts, absolutely.
So it's weird. It's like great in the second half, but I
play with their food a little bit.
I think it's less, if I may just for a moment.
Sure.
I wonder if it's less than that and more. Because one of you guys showed the stat yesterday. 5 games this year, they've trailed by double digits. They're 3-2 in those 5.
4-1.
Okay.
Oh, no, I did the one where they've allowed 30. My bad.
It's 3-2. I remember this.
It was 4-1 in my stat.
And I think they unleashed Josh. I think it's that, and I know sometimes that
especially
word.
when they're down.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think in the second half, like they have a plan going into a game. We're going to run James Cook. We're going to be conservative. We're going to do these things. Then it's like, gosh darn it, just press the Josh Allen button a bunch and see what happens.
the defense gets better.
Yeah, and so I think that's part of it. Go ahead.
Coming in at number 2, we'll see him Thursday night, the Seattle Seahawks. What do we say about week 1 on this show?
We don't even talk about it.
We don't even count it. Well, in week 1, the Seahawks got outgained by the Niners. They've outgained their opponent every week since.
I can't believe they're 2.
Every week since. Well,
Thank you, Wild.
the team they're playing Thursday night.
Ridiculous.
Coming in at number 1, the Los Angeles Rams, MVP favorite, Super Bowl caliber coach, just held the Lions to 70 yards rushing on 3.5 yards per carry. What can't they do? In the last 8 weeks, they're the leading scoring team in the NFL. Second closest, 5 points per game less. They are just bludgeoning.
Why can you not believe Seattle's 2?
Because they saw him barely beat Phillip Rivers.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, I didn't know. I didn't know.
I'm not docking them for a win. They've been great all year.
That was not impressive.
I think
Perfect top 10, bro?
no.
Okay.
I'm with Wilds. No way Seattle should be number 2, and I think they're a good team. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, thank
But
you.
I
didn't know you were
can't
doing
put them at number 2.
this. Step on it.
I can't put them at number 2, and I think Nick will agree with me, grudgingly. When your quarterback is a huge question mark in big games. And they beat Indy, but that was a big game. They couldn't score.
Why was that a big game?
Because it was.
They were 14-point favorites. That was the opposite of a big game.
You were facing a team that's had a good season, a team that is fighting for its playoff life, and Phillip Rivers coming back. It was a big game.
It was a big game.
And Darnold couldn't push the ball into the end zone. And Danny, I hate to show you this graphic, but here it is. Sam Darnold versus winning teams and lose teams 500 or worse. Look at that difference. There's a 30-point difference in his passer rating. Doesn't throw as accurately. Touchdown to interception ratio is frightening. And his yards per attempt drops. I'm just saying, yeah, they're going to make the playoffs, and that's cute. But when they have to play in these big games, do you definitely try? Like Bo Nix, Caleb, we don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs. We haven't seen them be good or bad, most of them.
Well, Bo, we saw one game, but he was a huge dog.
Right.
Yeah.
But Darnold, we've seen struggle in some of these big games.
No question. I think it's totally reasonable for people to have a difference of opinion on the game they played against the Rams. Because Darnold was awful. He had 4 interceptions, but they almost won, which tells me how good the rest of the team is.
So they're just going to win despite him throughout the playoffs?
Well, no, let's see what happens Thursday.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be on the list, but I just think Buffalo should. I would definitely put
so
ahead
you don't
of
think they can win tomorrow night? If they win tomorrow night, they have a claim to the best.
Well, I'm not as high on the Rams as you guys are. I think they're a good team.
Well, then who are you high on?
Nobody. There's no
Nobody's
world
good.
beaters in
There's
the
been
NFL. He
saying
said
it all year.
several
No one's
times.
You could put Buffalo at number 1, Denver with the way Bo
Buffalo
Nix is
number
playing. You could.
So no,
They just
certainly could
went
put
to your
Denver.
house.
But I feel like if you
Made
put
you give 'em
Denver
some
at
clam
1, you'd be
chowder.
like, I'm not that high on Denver. Like maybe nobody's good.
I just think Seattle's
All right, take us home on Top 10 Tuesday.
Okay.
Perfect list.
So here, it could have been. Honestly, it could have been. But the idea that the Chargers are better. There are 2 teams off this list that are not as good as that are better than the Chargers. The Niners, who have just been excellent all year. They've played in the toughest division. They're still alive for the 1 seed. They've dealt with quarterback injury, massive injuries. They just keep winning games. Their offense playing coming off one of its best games of the year. And the Eagles, I believe, have an argument that they are better than the Chargers. Now they
Chargers just beat them.
They did. You are right, and I'm glad you care about that stuff.
When it fits
because
my
the
argument.
Chargers played the Eagles,
Yeah.
and it was so close after regulation that the refs were like, you know what? Let's play 10 more minutes and see how it goes. They had a whole nother extra mini game to be played,
They invented
and
overtime
that game ended up being 3 points down to the wire. And yet, but the Chargers won. And then there's the Jags, who, of course, have the same record as the Chargers, except when they played, they blasted them.
They did.
The Jags, who are playing their best ball of the year. The Jags, who have been, to your point, the most reliable offense, amazingly, in football this season. But you don't like them because you think this is actually a Herbert versus Trevor Lawrence thing. So, let's see who's playing better.
Ooh.
Since they played, well, I don't know. Trevor's been maybe the best quarterback in the league since
One guy
they
had
played.
hand surgery.
Okay, you know what? Was it his throwing hand?
No.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't.
And
fumbling.
he didn't have hand surgery right after this game. And again, since they played, we're going into week 16. This is week 11. Yes, Herbert's team has been winning, not as much as the Jags. They can't score 20. He's not throwing for 175 yards. His pass rating's 75. Now, I'm not killing him for it because I understand the circumstances. But your argument can't be, well, they have the same resume, but I trust one quarterback so much more than the other, when the other quarterback is playing his best ball of the year, and one quarterback, maybe because of injury, is playing his worst ball of the year. How are the Chargers still this high?
Well, I just told you that their defense is the best opponent passer rating defense since 2021. I didn't even mention Justin Herbert. You're the guy obsessed with Herbert over here. I'm talking about
The
Chargers
whole
defense.
argument for him, the Jags, Niners, and Eagles are all better than the Chargers. Everybody knows it.
The Eagles played
Beat the Eagles.
I understand that.
I really want Chargers Jaguars in the playoffs.
No, you don't.
I do.
You thought you wanted that a few years ago.
I want
And then
it.
Herbert blew a 27-point lead.
I want it. All right, guys, you guys have both played. You both have had injuries. You both have recovered from injuries to continue playing. Willie, your reaction?
Yeah, I think Tom Brady is just a different dog and a different style of player. You know, Patrick's game is being mobile, improv, having those off-platform throws where he can extend plays. For me, when I think about it, I think his comeback is going to be a difficult one because he's going to have to become now more of a point guard, a guy who sits in the pocket and distributes the football. And they're going to have to shore up that protection. You know, he was sacked 13 times in his last 4 games, and I think some of that was because of him. You know, him just sitting there holding on to the ball. He's going to have to be quick, be more decisive and quicker with the football in his hand. And I just don't know if the Chiefs can protect Patrick Mahomes from Patrick Mahomes. That's going to be the biggest task because he is one of those guys that thrives in chaos. I don't know if he's going to be that guy coming off a gimpy leg.
So we're kind of in lockstep, and I think one of the ways that the Chiefs can protect him is if you establish and get him a running game. Because to your point,
Yeah.
I believe he's going to become more of a pocket present guy where he's just settled more in the pocket. And this is not to say that he can't and has not shown that he can throw from the pocket.
I was going to say he's pretty great at both.
He is.
Pretty great at
But
both.
the magic that Willie and I are losing,
Yeah.
that comes from him extending the plays and being outside of the pocket and impacting the game in that regard. But when you're coming back off an injury like that, I've had an MCL injury. I've had a couple, not major injuries, but you just don't trust anything with the knee. You just don't truly trust it out the gate. And so the less you are asked to do, the better until you get to the point where you feel like you just react and it's like, oh, shoot, I did it. That magic kind of happened. It's not that he doesn't believe he can do it. It's a matter of trusting his body to do those things. But I think he's going to be more of a pocket guy, which is dangerous for the NFL if he just starts to dice.
From a scheme standpoint, they're going to have to live in a heavier 12 personnel, right? The 2 tight ends, 1 running back, 1 receiver, where there's can shore up the protection. Because I think what me and Greg trying to allude to, as a ball player, when I came off an Achilles, and one of the things that I didn't have to do was come in and out of bricks. That was your job. I had to fight in the box, so it was easier for me to kind of recover. For a guy like him, he's going to be dodging and weaving, trying to extend plays, trying to be the Patrick Mahomes that we know him to be. And he's 30 years old. as you get older, your body starts to kind of become this fleeting thing. And I don't know if he's going to be comfortable with that because he's going to want to prove that he's still that guy, that's still impact player. And I don't know if he's going to be that. Now, can he still have an impact and grow into that? But I think they're going to have to really slow down and make sure that all the things are working for him, not against him.
So that's the player perspective, and that is certainly more informed. I will just tell you from the media perspective, we're going to be talking about this a lot between now and whenever he plays football again. I'm going to give you guys a preview right now of some of the stories we're going to hear, okay? Mahomes was miserable watching the NFL playoffs, and it really motivated him to attack rehab. Mahomes really hated rehab because he wanted to play football, and it stole his. Then he worked out harder than he's ever worked before. Then he's going to hear that Josh Allen is better than Patrick Mahomes, and that's going to motivate him to really attack rehab and come back better than ever. He was fueled by the disrespect and the doubt. He was going to be compared to Adrian Peterson and Tom Brady, and then he's going to be back playing football, and he's going to be great. But if he's rusty, we'll be like, well, he's coming off of injury. Like with his, he will be back. He will be great, and all of this stuff that's going to happen in the next 9 months is going to largely be noise. Like Patrick Mahomes is going to play football for the next 10 years, and I fully expect him to get back to MVP form and Super Bowl form.
So I definitely expect him to get back to MVP form. I just believe that if you are the Chiefs organization, you now are not solely reliant upon the magic and him elevating everybody in all that you do.
And that's a good thing.
You now want, exactly. Now you're going to be kind of forced because of this injury. Okay, how can we how can we protect our most valuable asset so that we get the longevity that we're hoping for? And that's to keep him in the pocket and not have him be so magical when needed. We want him to sprinkle that, but you do that by getting him a running game and ensuring that you have protection up front to where he's comfortable and settled in the pocket and not so antsy. Because we've seen him, even when the pocket has been great, get antsy and get outside the pocket because of those hits that he has taken.
And also don't rush the process, right? Like, respect where you're at. Like, the injury is long. It's the 9 to 12-month injury. You're rushing back to what? To only possibly get hurt and not be on time? Like, I would slow the process down.
Yeah, he's going to accelerate that process.
He'll attack it. I guess my question, guys, would be, should it be 3 more weeks? Like, it was impressive that he walked off the field. He had the touchdown pass. I thought the celebration of his high school team was just cool, kind of a Disney movie type of situation. But they're 8% to make the playoffs right now. Like, what's the point? Like, if you're basically eliminated, if they lose to San Francisco, should he keep playing or should you take 2 weeks to see what you have from Riley Leonard? I don't really know why we have to see 3 more weeks of this.
Yeah, I think when you have worked so hard, you feel like from a head coaching perspective and ownership, you owe it to the players to exhaust every option until you're mathematically completely eliminated. Because of where they started. They started out one of the hottest teams in the National Football League, and obviously the injuries caught up to them. And now you have a guy who's wired correctly, who understands, like, there has to be a certain vibrato that you have under center, and you know you don't have that with the young guy. And if we're out of it, if they lose this next game, I do believe that then they'll pass it over to Riley Leonard. However, you're not completely out of it. And so you're trying to salvage whatever it is that you can in order to try to get your way in the postseason. And he's a guy that has been there before.
Yeah, I think you keep Phillip Rivers in a cockpit. And I also think at this point you open up the playbook. What do you got to lose? Let it rip. And I think, the game Sunday was more of him being controlling traffic than leaning on Jonathan Allen. It was, Jonathan Taylor, and it was more of a conservative game plan. But I think right now, if you're going into San Fran, I think let it all go.
Really?
Yeah. Like
as much as he can take.
You brought Phillip Rivers in here because of his IQ and grit. He showed that he's confident and ready to take on more. Simply because when he left that field, they were winning that game. They weren't losing. He had to go back and try to save the game. And you watch how this team rallies around him and how they're fighting for him. You lean on that. At the end of the season, he's not going to be your starting quarterback, so you shoot all the bullets.
I guess. I mean, they were running that play clock down and snapping it with 2-3 seconds left. They're snapping and throwing. He's avoiding hits. He's throwing ducks. Like, I don't know that if you're like, let's go 5 wide and play him the rest of the way, and they've got Robert Saleh, then they got the Texans.
You have the young fellow waiting in the wing for you.
Yeah, and clearly, Danny, like, when you go and make a move like this, it speaks to what you don't have in Riley Leonard. Like, regardless,
a sixth-round rookie, right? He's probably not good. Sure.
And so, in order to try to at least give the feeling to your fan base, to the guys in the locker room, that you're going to do whatever it takes to save the season, you go out and try to
from the neck up. He can win a dogfight. Keep him out there.
He almost won one.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.